Hi, I'm Greg and welcome to my channel. We're going to do something a little bit off-brand today. I think you'll like it. If you're a craftsy kind of person that's into furniture restoration, you won't want to miss this video. This has character already. You gotta love that. We are going to visit Red Rocker Furniture in Crafton, PA. A friend of mine from many years ago delved into the creative realm of arts, crafts, and furniture restoration. And today we're going to get a look at her business, what she does, and I think it's something that you will enjoy. Stay tuned. This has character already. You gotta love that. Welcome to the channel, everybody. I'm Greg, and with me today is the illustrious Chris O'Leary of Red Rocker Furniture.
Illustrious.
This is a little off-brand for those of you who know the channel. This is about exploring people in my past and people that I know who are delving into the creative in other fields besides music. In this case, why don't you tell us a little bit about Red Rocker Furniture?
All right, well, first, the name Red Rocker originated from me having been a singer and I had red hair. So I am the Red Rocker. It's not just about the actual rocking chair. Although the chair is my logo. So I restore furniture, and the two reasons that I do it is, number one, I want to do something with my creative energy in my retirement, and I have a lot of free time that I didn't have prior to retiring from healthcare, which I restored people.
That's what you did.
I was an occupational therapist, okay. So I made people get better, and now I make old furniture get better.
All right, so talk about a piece. Let's start with this round one here that you had showed me before. All right, Chris, what are we looking at here?
This round table was made by Lane, and a person offered it to me. The top used to be leather, but it was in terrible shape, so I scraped it off. And because I scraped it off, you can't have a smooth finish. So I did a textured paint job with a metallic paint, and then I added a product called Wood You Bend around the bottom. It comes in a roll.
So this wasn't on there?
Nope. You heat it up.
Okay.
And you wrap it around and you glue it a little piece at a time. As long as you heat it, it'll be pliable. As soon as it's cool, it solidifies. And you glue it on, and then you can paint it. So the difference is you get no back talk. And
well, it's an important difference.
And you actually have a hand in the creative process, whereas with people, you're not the only one that has an input.
You're stuck with what you got. You got to work with it.
Quality furniture seems to be a thing of the past. And when I see people putting stuff out on the curb that has incredible workmanship, the craftsmanship of old, and it's being dropped into a landfill, it breaks my heart. So initially, I took a piece home and I just was playing with it, and somebody said, you're pretty good, you could probably make a business out of that. And I thought, sure, I'm just doing it for therapy. Eventually, people started calling me up and saying, hey, there's a vanity on the corner of Kelton, and I'm like, take a picture. And they take a picture, and I'm saying, I love it. I run over and I struggle it into the back of my car by myself and get it home, and then I have to call for help because I can't get it up the steps in the front. But I'm finding that people are throwing away things that you can't even buy anymore. Like the quality, everything is factory made, it's disposable. They make furniture to throw away now. It's in good shape. It's only got a couple of marks. Well, the whole veneer is coming off.
Yeah, this.
And this is my least favorite thing to do, is to chop veneer
Is
off.
that cedar?
Yeah. But I mean, look, it's a gorgeous piece of furniture. They're going to put it on the curb. I can't do it. Can't do it.
So you get pieces of furniture and then you strip them, or you paint over them, or you refinish them,
Like something like
repurpose
this, you
them.
can't sand and stain that. That needs to be painted.
And this is strictly refinishing. You don't get into anything where you're taking wood apart and modifying them. Okay.
I'm not a carpenter. I can do minor repairs, but like I said, it's not-
Repairs, but you're not You're not doing
No,
any
absolutely
modifications.
not. I'm not recreating the wheel. But I mean, everybody has one of these. Everybody has one of these.
I don't have one of them.
This is the disposable generation. You know, I remember when Grandma had a pile of socks she had to darn, and they didn't throw anything away. You
use
mended
what
it,
you had.
you repaired it, and you put it. And there's value in that. There's value in caring for things and not throwing everything away. I mean, when you look at what's happening to the earth right now, this is a small contribution I can make. And it's...
But it's also, I mean, it's a hobby, it's a love, it's what you do, but you're also monetizing this, and you're actually using this to make a little bit of extra income as well, right?
Well, and that only came to be because I had so much furniture that I painted in my house that I didn't know what to do with it all, and so I opened an Etsy shop.
All right, so the next item on the lot is the item 5544B. Okay, what is this thing called here? It's like a hutch?
This is originally a Hoosier cabinet,
A Hoosier cabinet.
and it has a flower storage bin.
Oh, wow. Where does that go to?
It goes in here,
Oh, wow.
and then
Yeah.
you grind it. You can't make this stuff up. This is classic. This is old.
You
This is-
can't make this stuff up. You got a roll top bed so you can do your bills and pay your taxes all while you're making bread?
Oils in there will help to loosen that up. There is a door for this cabinet.
So you can have your flour and make a hole
Yeah,
and put
you
your
build your
water,
pie.
and you can build your pie right here, and the sledge keeps all the keeps it from rolling off the edge. So this is a kitchen
Yes.
piece for a kitchen.
Yes.
Do you have the front for that?
I do.
Ah, there she be. That is pretty cool.
And I like the oven rack in here.
I noticed that. That's
You
crazy.
Slide in and out.
An oven rack.
But that's
And these are like bread tins.
for cooling your pies. Yeah. I mean, it was functional. That's what they used to keep the mice out of their baked goods.
That's very interesting. You're doing this full time now, or is this part time? Or
Well, I don't want it to become a job. I don't want to have to work.
there's wisdom in
And you
that.
can't be creative on demand. I mean, you know that as well as anyone with the music. You can't just, somebody says write and you write.
Yep.
That doesn't make it quality.
Yep.
When I feel something, I go and do it. When I don't feel like it, I can take 3 days and do nothing. There's no
Yeah, your head might not
responsibility.
be into painting. You need your head has to be right.
And the other part of the business is I'm not a business person, so I had to take a course in marketing to figure out how to even get my name out there so that people would know, hey, I can refinish your furniture. I mean, I don't want to have to spend the time learning business. I want to paint furniture.
Tax law, business, marketing, networking, sales. Like there's so many hats that you have to wear, and it can be intimidating.
Yeah.
And programs, just learning. I would imagine that you've been doing this for how long now?
2018 is when I decided to go public, where I'm not just doing it for myself.
Okay.
The nice thing about picking up junk off the curb is that you don't feel bad about ruining it because it was being thrown out anyway.
Right.
So you have a liberty there. There's a freedom that you can just do whatever you want. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But through that trial and error process, I've developed a lot of different skills. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of old stuff. This was somebody's nightstand. It looked like, it had all this ridiculous stuff on. I made it different. I took all the stuff off that was dated and made it into
This is a bread box, literally.
magnet.
That's pretty cool. And this is a chalk type of.
Yeah.
Why did it feel like it was sticking? I had to really pull it apart.
It was. It's been down here for a while. And, I got my dehumidifier on. Of this piece, I got a rocking chair upstairs that as soon as I sat in it, I knew it had to be mine because the hands, I could just feel.
So this is an original rocker, original
Yes,
finish on it?
It's from the late 1800s. It's not,
Really?
yes.
1800s.
It's not,
So you are debating now, and this debate has probably been going on for a while, that you just don't want to touch it. You want to leave it?
I offer it as is, and if someone purchases it and says, I want it to be white, I will paint it for them. But I can't bring myself to just put a brush to it because...
How long have you had this piece?
Probably 3 months.
Okay. All right, so this is relatively new piece.
Yes.
Doesn't have any history.
No history, but also very well made. And it's sad to throw something like that out.
Yeah. Well, you know, especially in your line of work, it's all about antiques or just pieces of furniture that you can get and restore and bring back to life. And
it's quality craftsmanship and keeping things out of the landfill.
you were showing us earlier with the trunk in the sunroom. And what is that technique called, where you're feathering?
It's highlighting or blending. You can do blending.
No, it's a process where you have to layer different things.
I've done that on furniture too.
Okay.
I've done furniture that looked like Monet, where you do little tiny strokes and you end up with a...
So right now, your workload with pieces, how many pieces would you say you're working on right now?
Well, I like to work on maybe 2 at a time, sometimes 3. If I have a commission job, like I have a customer bringing a table that she wants refinished, she found me on Google and found out that I was in the neighborhood. So she's bringing a table, she sent me a picture, she wants the top stripped and stained. We have to go through the logistics of how to get it here. But I will prioritize my commission jobs. So whatever I'm doing goes on hold until I work for the clients that are paying me up front.
What would you say the percentage of between commission work and other work? Like, what is other work? Work that you just find a piece on the curb and you grab it, it might be used for something?
Right, other work is the work that I put on the Etsy shop.
So what is that, 50-50, 60-40?
It's actually probably about 75 Etsy shop and 25 commission, but I'm trying to lean more towards the commissions because number 1, I don't have a place to store all this furniture that I'm putting on the Etsy shop, and number 2, I don't have to pay for shipping. Shipping is exorbitant.
Yeah, especially for a big, heavy...
I've got a buffet. It's probably going to cost $800 to ship it, even halfway across the country. I like the advantage of having the customer responsible for dropping the piece off, picking the piece up, and I don't have to store it. The downside is I lose my creative freedom because they tell me what they want, and that's what I do.
So you just got this from a friend that passed, and
they said, take anything you want, and I saw this little wooden cabinet, and I thought, you know, somebody could use this in their bathroom, put their hair dryer on it, and their, you know.
And your thoughts when you see a piece, do you immediately come to mind like paint, restore, back to stain?
Everything gives me a feeling, like what it wants to be.
All right, what does this want to be?
This wants to be a bumblebee design.
A bumblebee design?
I don't know why.
Like black and gold stripes?
No, it'll be like a wheat colored, and it'll be like dark to light. And then there are patterns I can do with stencils or with transfers.
Bumblebee, what is, like, what, are you gonna paint it black and gold?
Well, I like bumblebees and I like to give them some airplay, so, you know. I just thought the color, gold or wheat color, would be a nice color. And then the bumblebee design, there's a motif that you can use that shows honeycomb patterns. You do it with a stencil. There's ones with the queen bee. I could put it on the front. Just something to add
give it a little bit of character.
Yeah. And I don't mind because they're paying the bills, but at the same time, if it were strictly commission, then it would be kind of boring.
You want that client that's a commission and they say free artistic license.
I don't want to outgrow myself. I'm not ever going to have an employee. I don't want to give myself like like to be overwhelmed to where this no longer is fun for me, because that kind of defeats the whole point. I mean, I like the idea of being creative. I like the idea of contributing to sustainability and taking care of the earth. I like the idea of helping people in my local area refinish pieces rather than put them on the curb. And that's where I would like to leave it. Things have been in my Etsy shop for 2 years. Like, people are just not buying them. Do I want to paint everything gray or black or white so that I get more sales?
Painting it gray, is that what people want?
People want, yes. People want the most boring neutral, or they want it regular wood tone, which is fine too, but it's not creative. It may sit on the shop for, 6 years and nobody may buy it, but the point is I'm being true to myself. And as soon as I start painting for the masses, then I might as well be IKEA.
Jordan Peterson has something to say about artists, and he's like, buy a damn piece of art, invite that into your life. You'd be surprised.
Anyway, so that's what artists are doing. And so one of the things I would say is buy a damn piece of art. Find one that really speaks to you, because you invite that into your life. Look out if you do it. If it's a real piece of art, because you'll also get a little introduction to the artist, and then that'll seep into your life, and that'll change things like mad.
You get a little piece of the artist with you, and then that will grow, and it'll make you think differently, and like that whole line of thinking of inviting this piece of furniture, restoring it, and thinking outside of the box instead of the gray factory, just god awful, boring, go with the masses thing. Like,
it shows no personality.
No personality. So buy a heavy piece of furniture, damn it. And you don't want the kids jumping on it and tipping the thing over on the dog, Well,
what's nice too is that you get a piece of history. And I try, when I find a piece, to look into the details of when it was made, maybe where it came from.
Like the old trunk that we were looking at before. What's the age of that trunk? Do you have any idea on that?
That's from mid-1800s.
Mid-1800s.
The humpback, yeah. That's a steamer trunk, and they are, they're all in landfills. People are just throwing those out left and right.
So, all right, so you're doing this all out of the comforts of your home. Red Rocker Furniture, it's here in Crafton, PA, which is a little town just outside of the city of Pittsburgh. I would say look her up if you're looking for something unique and something different. Chris O'Leary is the person. I'll have your information in the description. You can contact her direct. If you have a piece of furniture that you want to repurpose, she would be the person that I highly recommend. And if you have something that you're just going to donate to the curb, she would be the person that I would highly recommend that you call and get that taken away for you. Any closing thoughts? Any advice to young entrepreneur types that that might want to go into the furniture rebuilding business?
I do free consults. If you want an education on some DIY projects, you can always call me up, and I'll give you a walkthrough on what needs to be started and how to proceed. I say, don't throw out the memories. Don't throw out grandma's china closet. Don't put everything on the curb because it doesn't fit your decor. Make it fit. Recreate it, reimagine it, and use it in your life, and keep those memories because they're valuable.
All right, memories are valuable. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I appreciate that. And I will see you on the next one.